Welcome to the Passive Income Machine podcast, where we show you how to break free from the grind and achieve real financial freedom in 10 years or less. My name is Ryan D. Lee, and I've helped thousands turn income into cash flow, trade fake money for real assets, and take back control over their time, their wealth, and ultimately their life. Each week, you'll get strategy, tools, and mindset to build your own passive income machine. So my friends, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. All right, my friends, welcome back to the Passive Income Machine podcast. You are on the microphone today with me, Ryan D. Lee, and today I've got a treat for you. So sit back and buckle up, because today the topic is how to create 6 figures or more of tax-free income for life. Listen, what I'm going to share with you today is the pinnacle of the Passive Income Machine. If you've been listening to these last few episodes, I'm outlining a system and a mechanism that will help you focus and align your money in such a way that creates the possibility of financial freedom. Now, in order for you to be financially free, what I'm going to talk about in the next episode is helping you understand your strike number, how to eliminate taxes. But for this one, what I wanted you to do is I wanted you to have an understanding that the biggest detriment to your future wealth, to your future cash flow, is taxes. And most people erroneously believe that they can just save up enough money in some tax-deferred account, and when they're ready, they can start taking income from that account, pay taxes on it, and hope that they have enough money that they don't run out before they live. I mean, that's really most people. They have 2 options in retirement. They either live off their interest and they hope that it lasts, or they slowly sell off their assets and they pray they don't run out of money. Have you ever wondered how the generational wealthy families, how they create generational wealth? Well, they do things fundamentally different. They're not building up a base of assets and then selling them off. And I want you to know that there is a third option, one that lets you live tax-free for life while your wealth keeps on growing. Let me give you a little example to this. Imagine 2 retirees. Person A worked hard and saved $2 million. And now that money's relegated with the market, and so the most they can take is a 4% distribution rate. And so they start pulling 4% off, or $80,000 a year, hoping that they don't run out of money before they run out of time. But Person B built a passive income machine and they leveraged their assets to create tax-free income, never running out of money, never selling assets, and never paying tax. What if you never had to sell off your wealth, and instead you could borrow against it tax-free forever? That's the topic of conversation today, my friends. So like I said, sit back and buckle up. If you're driving right now, make sure you're keeping both hands on the steering wheel. If you're at the gym right now lifting, do not drop any weights on your head, because I'm about to share with you something that can quite literally shake up your perspective around money. So let's get after it. The passive income machine is a mechanism, a system to grow your wealth in a most efficient way. In fact, one of the best parts about the passive income machine investment system is we begin with the end in mind. I can't tell you how many times I talk to financial advisors, financial planners, and even individuals with their money in some form of an account. They have no idea what they're investing for. They just have this vague idea of retirement someday. Hopefully they'll have a mystical sum of money. They don't even know what enough is, and they just hope that magically it's going to work out someday. But the wealthy, they know exactly what they're doing from the beginning. They begin with the end in mind, and that end in mind, that serves as their North Star. It then guides, and it gives them direction, and it gives them perspective on the decisions that they're making today. I want you to have that same perspective when it comes to your money, because your money is a limited resource, and you have to understand that you've already traded your time for the money that you have. And when we understand that money is meant to buy back our time, that's what financial freedom is, then we're going to use it more effectively. So the biggest liability to your future income is taxes, in the form of inflation and in the form of just actual taxation. And most people put themselves in a position where they're fighting against these 2 wealth forces. Imagine this. If your money's in a 401k, an IRA, the market, or anything like that, you've likely put it there in some form of a tax-deferred account, which means whatever is in that account right now, if it's $30,000 or $300,000, if it's $100,000 or $10 million, how much of that money is actually yours, right? If it's in the form of an IRA, 30 to 40% of it's not yours. It's the government's. You have to pay taxes on that money before you ever get it back as income, which means if you retire at the tax brackets as they are today, 20, 30, 40% of that asset base isn't yours, it's taxes. But in addition to that, inflation is working against you, making your account less valuable every single day, every single year, decade after decade. The passive income machine repositions your finances in such a way that we don't build up an asset base and sell it off. We don't go up a proverbial mountain and then come back down. We just keep building. We own our assets into perpetuity, and we use the tax code to generate tax-free income. Now, to open up this concept, okay, to open up this portion of the strategy, I'm going to share with you a interview that Senator Elizabeth Warren gave, where she's talking about Jeff Bezos. Now, I want you to consider what's going on here. Jeff Bezos, arguably one of, if not the richest, people in the entire world. I think, Musk might have him beat out, and who knows who else. But the dude is not living, pinching pennies, right? He's living a healthy lifestyle. That guy's got money to spend. But Elizabeth Warren is calling him out because for the majority of his wealthy years, he's paid nothing in taxes on his income. And she says at the very most, he's paid 1% of taxes on his income. Why? I want you to consider that what Jeff Bezos is doing, you can do as well. And I would love if Senator Elizabeth Warren called you out, the podcast listener, for not paying any taxes on your income because you are smart. You've risen your financial IQ or raised your financial IQ, whatever that word is. And now you're not paying taxes. So let's hear what Senator Elizabeth Warren is saying about Jeff Bezos not paying taxes. Now, hopefully the audio comes through okay, but here, have a listen up.
Can I answer some of these questions?
Sure, please.
All right, thank you. So I'll start with the first one, and that was the question about the wealth tax. Remember, let's look at someone like Jeff Bezos, who is worth $1 bazillion. He has not paid taxes on all of that wealth. Don't describe it that way. In fact, Jeff Bezos, many years, has either paid nothing in taxes or has paid about 1%. Why? Because his income is very, very small, but he continues to grow his wealth through all of his Amazon stock. And how does he then fund a lifestyle like he does? Not by cashing in Amazon stock, but by borrowing against it. Right now,
Okay, my friends, I don't know if you caught that, but that was the mic drop. That was gold right there. Hey, quick break in the content. I hope you're enjoying and fired up about what you're learning here, because if you are, the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit is the next logical step. This event is where the magic really happens, where financial freedom moves from a dream into reality right this year in 2025. Early bird registration is open, and trust me, you want the exclusive bonuses that we're offering right now. It won't last, so hit the link in the description or just head over to retireintenyears.com and save your spot. I'll see you on the inside, and back to the show. So Elizabeth Warren just outlined step number 3 in the passive income machine, right? I've kind of walked you through my strategy so far. In the very beginning, I had to learn that savers are losers, right? I had to stop putting my money in things like IRAs and 401ks and crossing my fingers, hoping that inflation and taxes and markets didn't wipe me out. Step number 2, as I shared in the last podcast, was I had to learn that the rich don't work for money. The rich don't work for money. And it's about working smarter, not harder. Financial freedom is a measurement of, yes, cash flow, but also a measurement of time. And lesson number 3 that I want you to consider is, in the world that we live in today, debt is money. Now, let me say that once again. Debt is money. This was so hard for me to wrap my mind around when I first started, because I had a very Dave Ramsey mindset. Now, I love what Dave Ramsey does for anyone who's living broke in poverty, because today, debt, it's neutral. It's not good or bad. It's just a tool. And the financially uneducated use debt to put them in servitude, right? I mean, but imagine this. Let's say you walk out to your mailbox right now. Do we still get mail today? I don't know. Does mail still get delivered, or is it just all digital? But anyway, let's say you walk out to your mailbox and you've got an envelope with a credit card in it, right? Visa, the benevolent, wonderful Visa has sent you a credit card with a $30,000 credit limit on it. You open that card and a moment of just, elation takes over you, and you're like, you know what? I deserve this. I've earned it. I work hard. I do all the right things. I'm just not getting ahead. And let's go say you take that credit card out and you just go blow it, right? You go, I don't know, what would you blow $30,000 on? But let's say you go blow it. You spend $30,000 on clothes, dining out, you go on some nice lavish vacations, you just blow it, you have a phenomenal time. And at the end of the month, right, Visa sends you a bill and you're like, crap, I can't pay it off. And so you just start making monthly payments on it. But at the end of the year, when you get ready to file your taxes, okay, and tell the IRS how much money you've made for the year and therefore how much taxes you owe, do you have to claim the $30,000 that Visa gave you, that Visa lent you in the form of debt? No, you don't, right? Because it's debt. You have to pay that off. But on the flip side, let's say you had a home, a piece of real estate that you bought with the passive income machine. It's one of those great single family turnkey homes that we talked about in episode 4. And let's say that you have $100,000 in equity in that thing. You go to the bank, you refinance your mortgage, and you pull out $50,000. Well, let's just make it the same. Let's just say you pull out $30,000. You pull out $30,000 in equity, and now you've got $30,000 to spend. Now, here's the crazy part, my friends. You just had money come into your life. Debt was money, but at the end of the year, do you have to report it as income? Well, the same as the Visa card, you don't, because you don't report your debt. Now, in this case, on the Visa card, you're working to pay off the debt. But in the case of you owning a single family home, who's paying off your debt? Well, you amortized it all over again, and your tenant and future tenants will just continue to pay the mortgage off for you, but you just got $30,000 tax-free to spend. So, my friends, this is the secret to creating a six-figure residual income for the rest of your life, pairing up and combining like peanut butter and jam and jelly, or chocolate and peanut butter, one of those two, right? The best combination ever, by pairing the vault and real estate together. Now, let me walk you through how this strategy works. We call this the equity mill strategy. And what the equity mill does is it's designed to create 6 figures or more of tax-free income for the rest of your life. Now, the way it does this is our objective is over the first 5, 6, 7, 10 years as you're building your passive income machine, the objective is for you to put everything and route everything through your vault. Now, like we talked about in episode, I think it was 3, we talked about this idea that as you're routing everything through your vault, you get the opportunity to double every dollar that you're investing. Every dollar that you invest now turns into 2 because of the vault. And that's really good. That's really good to use that leverage to be able to do that. But I want you to consider that the real power of the vault is in its ability to create tax-free income for you. So your objective inside of your passive income machine is when you get ready to quote unquote retire, walk away, you want to have at least 5, if not 6 years of your desired annual spend in cash value inside of your vault. Now, I'm not going to walk through all the ways that you get that much money inside of a vault, but there's lots of different ways to do that. So you want to have all of this capital inside of your vault, and you want to have all of your policy loans paid off. At the same time, you want to have a real estate asset base big enough to refinance every 3 to 5 years, or excuse me, every 5 to 6 years to pay off all of your policy loans. So let me walk you through a hypothetical example. Let's say over the 5 to 10 years, as you've been building your passive income machine, you arrive at your desired retirement date, and you've got $600,000 of cash value inside of your vault, and you've got a portfolio value, a real estate portfolio value of $3 million. And of that $3 million, you owe $2 million. So you've got $1 million in equity. Now, depending on how you've bought your houses, let's say that $3 million, let's say every house that you've bought is valued at $200,000, then that means you own 15 properties. So very much in alignment with the Robert Allen strategy that I shared with you of only having to buy 20 single family homes, but a portfolio value of $3 million and debt of $2 million. Okay. So these two assets, peanut butter and jelly, all combined in one beautiful tax-free income sandwich. All right. So the vault, what you're going to do in year number 1 is, let's say, for the sake of simplicity, let's say your desire is you want to take out $100,000 of income. Now, remember, you're not going to pay any taxes. So if you take out $100,000, it's $100,000 of spendable income. If you wanted $100,000 of spendable income from a tax-deferred account, you'd have to take close to $140,000, pay your state and federal taxes to be left with $100,000 of spendable income. Do you see how powerful this is? Okay, so year number 1, you take a $100,000 policy loan, tax-free, non-reportable loan. You don't have to tell anyone about it. And it's a private loan provision. You can take it monthly. You could take it annually. You could take it quarterly, however you want to do it. And we just let our real estate portfolio sit on the side. Now, it's generating cash flow, but in this example, I'm not even going to consider that. Year number 1, you spent your $100,000. You did exactly what you wanted to do. Now, remember, when you take a policy loan, it's not coming out of your vault. It's coming from the insurance company. So that entire entire time that you have a policy loan outstanding, the next year you've earned a compounding rate of return on the full $600,000 inside of your policy. So that means your cash value will go to $630,000, but now you have an outstanding policy loan. Okay, so in year two, we just repeat the process, right? We take another $100,000 policy loan and we fund our tax-free desired lifestyle in year two all over again. Now, because we own the real estate, over that same period of time, our real estate portfolio value ballooned to $3.1 million because of appreciation. Our tenants continue to pay down our mortgages for us, and so our debt liability went from $2 million down to about $1.8 million, and we just repeat this process every single year. Year three, we take another policy loan, $100,000. We spend our money. At this point, we have $300,000 in policy loans outstanding, but we still have $346,000 of available cash value to continue to leverage because every single year, our policy is growing and compounding. And so we do this in year three, we do this again in year four, and then we do this again in year five. In year five, at the end of year five, you would have taken 5 years of tax-free income. 5 years of tax-free income. You haven't sold any assets at this point, right? Everything is still there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our real estate portfolio that we've just been holding and operating for the last 5 years. Now, at the end of 5 years, your portfolio value should be closer to about 3.4 million at the standard compound growth rate that real estate compounds at or grows at. Your portfolio debt will be closer to around 1.4 million. So now you have about $2 million of equity spread in between what your portfolio is worth and the debt that you owe. You would easily, any bank in the world would do this. You would easily go back to any bank. You would take a cash out refi, meaning you would take debt, you would reamortize your mortgage, you would take $500,000 out, you would use that to pay off your policy loans, and everything now restarts all over again. This is the power. You haven't sold any real estate. You haven't sold your vault. You haven't depleted any assets, but you've had the ability to, just like Jeff Bezos, borrow against the collateral, the value of your portfolio. My friends, do you see the power of this? Without creating Amazon, without having a multi-billion-dollar company, you can operate on the very same level using the tax code to your advantage. Now, we call this the equity mill strategy because really what you're doing is you're mining the equity out of your portfolio. You're using your vault to generate consistent, smooth, predictable, tax-free income, and then you're using the growth aspect of your real estate portfolio to grow and compound, and then leverage more debt out of your real estate portfolio and start the process all over again. In year 6, in this example, you would just start the clock ticking all over again. Your real estate or your vault would have compounded and grown to about $700,000 of cash value. And so now you can give yourself a raise to stay consistent and constant with inflation. This is the power of the equity mill. It's beginning with the end in mind and knowing that the real purpose of all savings was to generate income from the beginning. Now, the reason we call it the equity mill, I want you to think about this. Your vault is really the foundation of all of this because it's storing all of your wealth as you're building up your passive income machine. It's generating income for you when you're, creating tax-free income, and then your real estate is the perfect combination. It's the chocolate to your peanut butter that's allowing the growth of real estate to constantly replenish the vault and keeping it a viable option. The reason that we love this strategy is it allows you to use the tax code 100% in your favor. Step number 1 of all of this, you just build up your assets, right? You take the first 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, right, to build up your assets, to build up your asset base. It's a very mathematical approach that we know if, depending on how much income you want, we can tell you exactly how much real estate portfolio value you need to have, how much money you have to have in your vault, and exactly the time frame that it's going to take you to get there. Step number 2, you leverage your vaults, right, the policy loans, to buy cash flowing real estate, and then you use the profits of that cash flowing real estate to pay back policy loans, and you just start this cycle of building value and repeating the process, and then you scale your portfolio to the desired number of properties. And then step number 3, once you're ready to transition from growth mode to income mode, we change everything about our strategy, and we now use our policy loans to provide income and our real estate to replenish the policy loans. This is the strategy. And the best part about this, we've seen so many people inside of our community do this, myself included. About 4 or 5 years ago, my wife came to me, Bethany. She's been an amazing support as we've been building this business over the years. And I'll tell you what, it's been a roller coaster. And she's ridden the highs and the lows, most importantly, the lows with me during this roller coaster ride. And, about 5 or 6 years ago, she came to me. She said, "Hey, Ryan, I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. I'm so proud of what you've built inside of the business. I'm so proud of the people that you're helping, all of the lives that you're changing, and financial freedom that's being created across the board. I love seeing that. But I've supported you in your dreams. Are you going to support me in mine? And like any loving husband would say, I said, of course I'm going to support you in your dreams. And then I kind of scratched my head like a doofus for a minute and I said, what are your dreams? Now, if you ever find yourself in a position like that, first and foremost, my friends, if I can give you one piece of advice, don't respond as if you don't know what the dreams are. Know what the dreams are. Be better, right? Don't be stupid like me. But I said, what are your dreams? And she said, I've always wanted to build and design a house. And she's told me that off and on, but because that wasn't my dream, I didn't really take that into consideration, that was really legitimately her dream. And so she said, I want to design and build a house. I want to buy the land. I want to design the house. I want to build it from the ground up. And I thought, wow, this sounds kind of cool. Let's do it. Now, little did I know, her dreams are expensive. I'm grateful for the house that she built, but her dreams are expensive. And so we sat down and we started designing a masterpiece, a beautiful home. And I'll never forget, when I say we, it's loosely, the dream, the vision poured out of her head. We sat down in front of an architect and this beautiful masterpiece just poured out of her head of the dream home that she was going to build. And so then we had to go find the lot to build it, right? And I'll never forget, we found the lot and we got all of the budget together, and I realized we did not have enough cash flow coming in from our real estate portfolio to maintain financial freedom at this new level that we were going to increase our spending to, because I'm telling you, man, it was a big jump for us. So what we decided to do is we decided to wait. And I thought to myself, what the heck, man? I've got this big multi-million-dollar portfolio, and I was just measuring my income based on the cash flow that it was delivering. But what I forgot to really look at was the equity in my portfolio. We went back to the portfolio between policy loans and the equity in the portfolio. We were able to take out $1 million. Crazy. $1 million completely tax-free. Non-reportable. I didn't have to tell anyone about it. We took $1 million out of our portfolio to make my wife's dream come to fruition. $1 million. I'll never forget what an insight, what an awakening for me was, because I didn't sell off any assets. 5 years later now, all of those assets have continued to balloon in value, and I can repeat that process all over again. Since doing that, we've now helped several people inside of our community also operate and leverage this equity mill strategy. And the best part about it is it keeps your current best friend, the IRS, out of your future. It hedges against inflation. It allows you to ride the economic forces and become wealthy, and it allows you to generate tax-free income for the rest of your life. So the equity mill is the pinnacle of the passive income machine. It's the end in mind. It's the North Star that you're moving to. And here's the truth that I know. Anyone that's willing to operate a system, that's willing to stay focused and committed to a process, can get an outcome. The outcome is a derivative of the process that we're building and your dedication to using that process. If you want to be financially free in 10 years or less, it's understanding the different wealth drivers, the different income drivers that come out of various assets, how income actually works in retirement, and designing a system to produce the maximum amount of spendable income in the shortest amount of time possible with the least amount of your dollars invested. That is the passive income machine. And you now have the pinnacle of this strategy. So my request to you is do something about it. Convert your knowledge into wisdom. I truly believe that you, my friend, the listener of this podcast, the empire builder that you are, you have an obligation to become financially free. And sometimes people get a little bit frustrated when I say that it's an obligation, but it is quite literally an obligation. You get one shot at this life. You get one opportunity to live your best life. And most people live in default mode. They live not by design, but by default. They wait for one day. They defer their dreams. They hope that when they have enough money, everything will become possible until everything fades away. Do not let that be you. My friend, you get one shot at this thing. Build a system, use money as a tool, and use your financial freedom to chase your purpose. My friends, that's all for today. Join me on the next podcast, and I'll talk to you then. All right, my friends, that's a wrap for today. If you're serious, though, about turning everything we talked about into your new reality, there's only one place you need need to be. It's the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit. This is your chance to learn exactly how to unlock financial freedom and build passive income in 2025. Early registration is live right now with an exclusive bonus for our early action takers. Don't miss out. Head to the link in the show notes or just head on over to retireintenyears.com and I'll catch you at the summit.